Because like we were joking because one of my friends Leanda has like one of his mutual streamers with Moonlit, so they have Discord with like girls only, and I slipped out on OnlyFans, and like everyone's like, hell yeah. I was like, oh, we just went there? Yeah, we went there.
I don't know about you guys, but this sounds like a good time to say, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Replayer Podcast. I'm jumping into a cold open. How do you like them apples?
How do you like them apples?
With me, of course, is my co-host, Pagan.
Hello. I like the apples just fine.
I love apples.
Yeah,
Honeycrisp.
apples are nice.
Honeycrisp specifically.
Honeycrisp?
Honeycrisp apples.
I like gala apples. I don't know.
Those are good. Honeycrisp are better.
Fuji.
Fair.
Those are good as well. Once you go Honeycrisp, you never go back. Joining us today, returning replayer guest, we have Emmanuel and Kay.
Hey.
Hey guys, thanks for having us.
Hi.
I like
you're welcome.
ladies.
Pleasure.
I am just rolling with it, guys, because...
Pink ladies. Yeah. I would agree. I think pink ladies are really nice.
I feel like the pink ladies are the ones that are kind of soft, and I don't like soft apples.
No,
They're super sweet.
Yeah, they're super sweet red apples, and I'm a fan of red apples. I'm not a big fan of green apples.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that green ones either.
Something that you didn't need to know today. Congratulations. You're welcome.
All because I said,
facts.
how do you like them apples?
How do you like them?
Honeycrisp, I'm telling you, it's where it's at.
I'll take a look at that.
I'll have to find out. Also, can I just point out that in America, I don't know if you've ever been, Kay, but in America, your fruit and your vegetables are like fucking 4 times the size of everybody else's in I have seen apples the size of my face. Avocados the size of my side of my head. Like, how do you do this? What are you putting into your shit?
I will say that anytime I go to the grocery store, if I go to like my local market that like I know generally has good produce, their apples are like, normal size, like a handful. If I go to Walmart, their same apples are like
chemicals.
That. And I'm like,
it's cannonballs.
I don't want to eat those.
It's a science experiment.
Because I'm sure they're full of growth hormones.
Like, I know that they are, but it's kind of cool. Like, I just wanted to pick up a giant avocado and be like, I want to have this giant avocado for no other reason than because it is giant. Oh, by the time I open it, it'll all be like fraught. It'll all be gone.
It'll be dead.
Like, yeah. It'll all be dead. As soon as like I open it, it'll just be like, oh, dead. I'm like,
that'll be the case. You open up that avocado and it'll be spoiled on the outside and rock hard in the middle, so impossible to eat.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it. But yeah, I just want to point out that your apples in America are just humongous.
Because you're an expert on American apples.
Listen, I have been to America many times. I have been overseas. Thank you so much. French? I don't know what that is. I don't know why I did that.
Did you say French?
I know, you went from British to... What?
I've been overseas.
I've been overseas, friend.
And now I'm going to tell you, your apples are huge.
Babes.
Thank
you. What are we doing? Where are we at?
I don't know.
I know. Why is like...
Why are we here again?
Oh.
I don't know.
We have replayer guests. Guys.
Oh, yeah. Hi, guys.
People. Hello.
All right, I gotta go.
Your turn to talk.
What
Go.
are your thoughts on American-sized apples? Kay?
Well, everything's bigger in America, apparently, so that doesn't surprise me at all.
That is actually true. Not gonna lie, that is gospel truth. Everything in America is huge. I could see the same version of my car in America, and it's automatically twice the size. I don't know how you do it. I don't know what you guys are doing and putting into your cars and your fruit, but Jesus Christ. Slow down.
Magic.
Nice,
there you go.
Nice
Emmanuel's answer is magic.
Magic. Oh, yes. I forgot it was the United States of America. The magical states. Yeah.
The magical states of America.
Sorry.
The magical states of America.
The land of the free and the home of the wizards.
I think we have 4 houses too.
We have 4 time zones.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about time zones again?
Yeah, let's not do that. That's just time travel and it messes with my brain.
That was a wormhole.
Oh, well. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh.
If you're new here, this is what happens. This is how it goes, okay? Strap in.
Honestly, I'm going to say I was having a rough day, so I'm feeling good, having a happy, let's get into it with the podcast. Nothing particularly bad, just...
Me and Kay are just like, let's get into it. Is
What's
this
that?
the wrong channel? Hold up. Where did we get... Where's Troy at?
Hold on.
Where's Troy?
What are you guys talking about?
Where's Troy at? Let's get into it. That's his podcast called.
Is it?
It's not Let's Get... Yeah. How did you not know that?
Legit.
Isn't it
Wow.
legit?
Yeah.
Legit.
Let's get into it.
See, now I thought it was just legit. I thought that was the name of the podcast.
Have you not seen him like capitalizing like the letters though?
All I saw was legit every time. And I'm like...
No, that's why. He's like, let's get into it. I was like,
The more you know.
The more you know.
Hey, he doesn't own that phrase. I can say
he
that.
doesn't. I know. But in the context of a podcast.
Anywho,
Anyway.
we have returning guests to the podcast, Emmanuel and Kay. We did learn a little bit about you guys in your previous visits, but I think we can jump back and check a few things here. We did start asking some new questions that I don't believe either of you have had. Mostly, where are you from? So I want to just go ahead and start with that, and let's start it with Kay.
I'm from Scotland. I'm from a small county called Fife. Literally nobody would have ever heard of it. Yeah, all you Americans are staring at me like, what?
It sounds
definitely
familiar, but
Was
it
it
might have been...
English?
Yeah. I feel like it was mentioned in like Shakespeare or something.
So I'm like
Fife
40
Royals.
minutes from Edinburgh or 2 hours away from Glasgow. So
Oh, okay. Fair.
So I'm like in the middle. So yeah, and I don't have a strong accent. I was on the phone to Ryan Robot Ninja Shark yesterday, and he was like, what part of England are you from? I was like, Scotland. I didn't know what to say.
To be fair, I presume that was just him thinking England is the actual full place. Yeah. I don't think that was like he presumed you were from like Birmingham. Like I think he just presumed that place was.
Well,
listen, I actually can't talk for Robot Ninja Shark. He's a very intelligent man. He might have actually meant that you're from England. So I apologize. I don't want to infer anything, but I get that a lot.
If
like,
you don't have an ear for it or no,
Wales.
Like I couldn't tell the difference. As far as I could tell, it's a UK accent to me.
There's a land mass, and the UK consists of Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland, and England.
Yeah, exactly.
All together. So she's not from England. She's from Scotland, which is a different country, but attached to the same landmass.
Right.
Yeah.
So
just clearing that up for all the viewers out there. Just clearing that all up.
So it's the Texas of the UK then.
Yeah.
This is true, yeah.
Texas is a whole nother country attached to the countries. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah. Of course.
There you
Pretty
go.
Close. I was to say, when I met Pagan, I didn't know that she was living in the UK either. It was just kind of like, whatever. Ireland. Ireland. But you didn't have an accent.
I'm not living in the UK. I'm not
no
living in the UK.
accent.
I only say that because I'm only taking this idea because it's a touchy subject on the whole Republic of Ireland versus the North. So yeah. I'm not from the UK. I'm from the South. Thank you so much.
Whatever. That vicinity of the planet.
Yeah. I'm from the same landmass as the North of Ireland.
You're technically from Africa.
Actually, yeah. Technically, I'm from Africa.
Fuck off.
But not the continent, the South country, which we call South Africa.
Yes.
I feel like I'm like putting it into this baby language for whoever's listening, and they're just like rolling their eyes like, shut up, Pagan.
Margot is listening like, okay.
Yeah.
Emmanuel,
like, shut the fuck up, Pagan.
where are you abouts?
Sorry.
I'm born in the Philippines, so I was born there, and I moved to a city that now finally has traction. I'm from Jersey City in New Jersey, where Kamala Khan is in the Avengers game.
Yes.
So, I'm here in the US in New Jersey. So pretty much like I've been in the US for all my life, but I was originally born in the Philippines.
What age were you when you moved over?
10. So I was
really?
I was a sponge. As soon as I got to the U.S., like from the Philippines, I just got Americanized so quickly, and it's like
that's fine. I'm the same. I was 10 years old when I came to Ireland.
Yeah, and it's crazy. And it's like
the same thing.
You pick up a lot of things. You pick up a lot of things along the way, like including gaming. And it's like you take as much information as you can, and then you will reach that point. It's like there's too much information. What's going on here?
Too much sensory overload.
Exactly.
Much.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. Too real.
So, but it's funny, like in Jersey City now, they're hearing our city because of the Avengers, and it's like, oh, I guess, yeah, she's from there, I guess.
Kamala Khan.
Yeah.
And like in the comics too, like there's a high school that's like kind of like the top school in the country, McNair High School, that was mentioned in the comics. So it's like on top of the game, on top of the comics, our city's just gotten so much nods from Marvel, and it's unreal that now they're hearing our city now because of the Avengers.
I knew about Jersey before the Avengers, so that's a plus, right?
Yay!
Right? Well, not
Jersey
just me. I'm pretty sure that like people know about Jersey and the state of New Jersey in general.
So yay!
It's in a lot of TV shows.
Yeah.
So.
There's a lot of movies that focus around Jersey too, or
that's true.
talk about Jersey.
That's true.
I mean, how many famous TV shows and sitcoms make fun of Jersey because they take place in New York or some form or fashion of that?
Do they? I don't know.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of New York shows. Really? Do they?
How I Met Your Mother. I can think of other shows that you
save yourself the time, everybody. If anybody's thinking about How I Met Your Mother,
that show is great for 8 seasons.
No. Oh, was the 9th season the last season?
Yeah.
Then I would agree. Yeah, the show is fine for the 8 seasons, and then the 9th season.
Watch that show just for Neil Patrick Harris, for all I care.
I'd agree.
He's glorious.
100% agree with that. Yes, I would agree with that statement. Yeah.
There you go.
Don't worry about the actual how to have met the mother part of the show.
Yeah, don't
worry about that.
Forget about all that, because actually it's not relevant apparently.
It's really not.
Don't worry about it. It ruins the illusion that way. It's like an end goal. It's like, oh, that's it. Oh, okay. All right. Bye, season.
I think they just ran out of ideas, and they were like, how can we squish this into the one season real quickly?
Shoehorn it.
Yeah, exactly. Speedrun it. It's fine.
There you go.
Speedrun it
for the last season.
Speedrun it. Oh, good.
Anyway.
Sorry. So I know we've asked you guys before about how you found Retro Replay. We have a new question that we'd like to ask is what is your favorite thing about Retro Replay, if you can say like a specific thing.
And if you haven't answered, I don't know if you've answered it before, Emmanuel, so if you haven't answered about how you found Retro Replay, we'd love to hear about that too.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Oh yeah. So actually it was with Troy, and he on his Instagram, it's like, oh, we have something coming out soon. I'm like, oh, okay, let's see what this looks like. And when Nolan North was mentioned, and I'm a big fan of Nolan even before Retro Replay, even before Uncharted. Actually, I came to know Nolan from Young Justice, and I googled it because like you hear Superboy. I'm like, why does Superboy sound so manly? And I googled it's like, oh, it's Nolan North, and I'm a passive watcher to begin with, and my first is actually I was partly late into like level 2, and with the Die Hard Christmas special I was actually hooked with the series, and it's solidified further. I know, best Christmas movie out there. That's all. Let's just say that.
Just that Die Hard and that episode
right next to the Grinch. It's still
favorite.
Christmas, obviously.
There you go, and it's solidified even further because I was at RTX in 2019. So RTX is basically the Rooster Teeth Expo where they display all of the upcoming shows that are coming out. And there was a live show of Retro Replay in RTX. So I just walked right in, and for the hour that I was in, I just couldn't stop laughing. And you see like it's different seeing like the actual replay episodes, but seeing it live is a completely different experience because you're there with Nolan, with Troy, with Greg Miller, who was like the special guest there. It's
nice.
a spectacle being in that moment, because like you're there, you're watching it live as it goes along, and I became a replayer ever since.
Nice.
Cool.
That's kind of cool.
Did you happen to catch that on the spot at RTX 2019?
I loved it.
Yeah, that was actually my introduction to that show, and I actually have been a fan of On the Spot since then.
Yeah, and it's and like you can see Nolan and Troy's like improv chops just show up, and like when you see them like improv, even though it's pun intended on the spot, you see them actually just like work their craft, and you see them just become Batman or I forgot, or whatever characters that they do.
I'm trying to remember which character Nolan did in that, where he went like Cro-Magnum, and it was like like during one of the bit. I think he was doing Cookie Monster or something.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'll have to rewatch the tape. But like when you see them actually like see them on stage, it's different than seeing it on a screen, because you can feel like whatever that they're showing with their craft, it hits more compared to like watching it on a replay show, on a retro replay episode. So
it's so cool to see that like you were there for that, because I saw that on YouTube and stuff like afterwards. But that's so cool that you're there.
Oh, it's once in a lifetime. Lifetime.
Now I'm gonna watch that video and be like, oh, Emmanuel was there.
I have videos on that.
Oh man, that's so cool. It's so cool. Love that.
It's doctored at that point. So, but
nice.
yeah.
So what is your favorite thing about Retro Replay, like the show? What drew you to the show? What do you like about it now that it's changed?
Wow, that's a good question. Well, actually, like just it made me see because of advice from Uncle Nolan, and they had the bit in I forgot which episode that was, and then you see the Uncle Nolan knows. I'm like, that's gonna be a series soon, and months later, lo and behold, okay, there's an actual like Q&A with just Uncle Nolan, and seeing Nolan like just jab at different questions, or taking a lot of serious advice to a lot of questions, that brings me joy, because like you never know who's going to get touched with those episodes. And one particular episode was a couple of weeks ago when he talked about trusting your gut, and I'm like, oh, okay, that hit me differently than when someone else says trust your gut, and it's like,
he said that in this week's.
He did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And like next thing you know, it's like it hit me hard, and it gave me a nice little wake up call that from that one episode. It's like, oh, okay, that's I gotta follow this.
He has the nuggets of advice, man. He has like a little golden nuggets that he'll just drop out.
When they first started doing the specific Uncle Nolan episodes, that was one of the first things that I always pointed out every episode, was like he always sneaks in like an actual legit piece of advice that's actually really good. And like that was always the one that I'm like, I gotta mention this every time we talk about the show. And now it's more and more common too. I think he starts getting more actual advice in each episode. And then my favorite ones are, we had another one like this week, we'll get to that, is like when he takes a legitimate question, just completely turns it on its head and just gives a complete bullshit answer. And like, that's the Uncle Nolan I love.
Yeah. It would think it would be serious, but then it's like, no, he threw a curveball at us.
Yeah.
Like,
makes a dick or a butt joke, and you're like, perfect.
There you go. I think one of the first ones he ever did was The Meaning of Life or something, and he just spun it around.
It's a Monty Python film.
Yeah.
that was it. Fantastic.
Yep. I was like low key applauding. Yes, he did it.
Perfect.
Excellent answer.
How about you, Kay? What's your favorite thing about Retro Replay, past or present, like with the new stuff that they're doing?
Well, in all honesty, I've not watched it like as much as I used to, but that's not for any particular reason.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But like I'm seeing things, like I've only seen bits of Father Knows Best. I've not seen it, but I could just see already, like I love the chemistry between, obviously it's father and son, so like you can't get anything better than that. And I just love it. And I love how inclusive Nolan's been with, like, especially the community. Like he's bringing in, like, reacting to people's artwork and things like that, and I'm just like, this is so cool. This is something that I think I secretly wanted, but obviously I'm not an artist or anything, so I'm like, oh, I'm happy for this person.
Yeah,
they've definitely turned the community involvement up to 11 lately.
Yeah, and I really admire that. Absolutely. So there's not really a lot I can say. Like, I think previously when Troy was still there, I think it was their chemistry that like immediately got me hooked. And even with him not being there, it's still such a good show. Like, I am still enthralled and amazed. Nolan's just such a great guy. Like, not only is he funny, but he's like the most lovable, squishable goofball ever. Like, that's the only way I can describe him. Like,
oh yeah,
like he genuinely is Uncle Nolan. Like, he's not Nolan North anymore. He's Uncle Nolan to like all of us. So.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, yeah, for sure.
It's almost as if Nolan has like a Noli brain and a Nolan brain, and it just jumps back and forth.
It switches.
Yeah.
Like, like when you speak to him at a con or whatever, like he is always so like really friendly, and then if you get him by himself, he's just like so crazy and so weird. Like, I remember I arrived late to a one of the photo booths. I was like the last one coming in. And I was thinking, oh my God, I don't even know how he's going to react to this. But I walked in, he's like, oh, okay, how you doing? And I was like, oh my God, it's been a year since I've spoken to you. How the hell do you remember me?
That's so
how
nice.
You doing, honey? I was like, and the fact it was like, well, girls especially, like Honey and Sweetie, and it's not like a creepy Uncle Noe thing. It's like, it's an nice Uncle Noe thing. Like,
not creepy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, it is. It is. I totally get what you're talking about. It's so funny because there are some people that I just won't tolerate that from. And there are other people where it's just like, it doesn't come across at all condescending or whatever. Like it just doesn't come across at all bad natured. Yeah. And I feel like there's some people that I definitely have met that do say like sweetie or honey or whatever. And I'm like, yo, don't, I'm not your honey. Like, don't fucking call me
honey.
But, and I don't usually get that. I don't usually get that rude, but like, I think it's obviously as well doing like customer service as well, because I will get people on the phone that are really condescending and say like honey or doll or love or whatever. And I'm like, please don't. I'm not your love. I'm not your babe. Like, fuck off. But I think like there are people like Nolan, when he says it, I would never assume, I would never get defensive on it. I'd be like, yeah, because it's just genuine.
It's all in the tone like, too.
Yeah,
for sure.
The way it's and diction, because like it could be like it can go either way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It can go either way with that.
And I think with me, like I'm a care assistant, so I look after like older people, and I think it always does sound condescending. I'm always going, "Are you all right, dear? You want a cup of tea?" Like, I don't know what it is about me saying that, but I'm always doing it, and I don't think
that's condescending though, as well though. Like, especially in your line of work, I think that's probably really natural for you, and it's a different generation as well. Like, if they're much older, like I know my grandmother loves that, like loves people who are super polite or who call her ma'am. Like, she loves going to the States because it's like, ma'am, yes, ma'am. And she just loves that. And it's really sweet and it's really polite. And that doesn't happen here at all. So it just, I feel like, I think definitely in your line of work, it's not at all condescending. And I feel like when you do say it, it's genuine as well. So weird tangent.
I'm also very careful to say it to you as well. Because again, you don't know who's going to take it the wrong way. So I'm just like, to other people, I'd be like, hey, honey. And then like, they'll be like, what? And I'm like, oh, no, I didn't mean anything. I just went hi.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've definitely developed a thing where like, if I'm talking to like another guy friend or somebody of that nature, I always end my statements with sir. Like, oh, how are you, sir? How's it going, sir? I don't know why. It's like a form of like respect for me, just in general, even though that's supposed to be like just the moniker that you use to show respect to someone. And I've had it in the past too, where I've talked to like strangers and I say sir, and they're like, what do you mean, sir? I'm like, that's my way of being respectful.
That's me.
I will. I'll say that because, like, I mean, that was a thing that when we came over here from South Africa, like being like 10 or 11 years old, so this kind of like teeny bopper stage, like anybody who was older older than you, I guess, that were like your parents' friends or whatever, or you knew them vaguely, you would always call them auntie or uncle. So auntie this or uncle that. Because you would just never refer to them as just their first name. It just wasn't polite. It's just not a mannerly thing to do in South Africa. Absolutely. Margot can correct me to see if that's wrong now. But when I was growing up, it wasn't like that. But that's why I also enjoy going over to States, because it's a lot of sir, ma'am, and I'm like, this is nice. Like I stayed with a family in the States.
I feel like I'd have the same experience going over to Ireland or to London or something. Like I feel like people would be more respectful over there. I don't know.
No,
I guess
God,
it depends
no.
on the different
They would never call you sir. They would never call you sir.
Bloke.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Right, mate.
Breaking out the cockney. Break out the cockney.
What do they say? Like, what do they say when you're like at the till? If you're gonna be in line for something, and they're calling you on, what do they say?
Next.
Do they just say next?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I will say, like, I've been in Britain and they have said, like, can I help? Like, hi, can I help? And I'm like, yeah, you can. Yeah. That's fucking unreal. Whereas in Ireland, they're just like, next.
Yeah.
Here I go.
Yeah.
It depends on where you go, I guess. I mean, like,
it depends what shop
if it's like a bank, the teller might be like, you know, I can help who's next, or something. If you're at a convenience store, you might just get next, or if you're at the DMV or something, they just next. It all depends.
Yeah, or like in a deli, it's like you're in the line. It's like next. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
There's a culture thing too, because like we had MSG on last week and we were talking about pizza and pizzerias, and like you go to like an authentic Italian pizzeria and the cultural motif is the bang bang bang, like let's go 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 go, and they seem rude, but it's not to them. Like it's just the way they do things.
It's the flow of things. Yeah,
like they're like let's go let's go let's go, like that's just how they operate. Like they're not purposely being rude or disrespectful.
But you have in the States a restaurant or a chain of restaurants where it is a rude restaurant, right?
Yes.
There's like waiters and
I've
waitresses
been there.
that are paid to be rude. I presume that little gimmick wears off real fast.
I know.
Like I would be like, oh, this is fun for like the first 2 minutes, and I'm like, okay, this is horrendous.
I mean, they never assault you or anything. I mean, I think I've gone to one of those places and like they get your drink order and they'll put it on the table and like, here's your drink, asshole, or something like that. You know, and it's like, all right.
Yeah, no,
I've never had that experience, but that's a good to know if I go to another restaurant.
No, because it's a genuine, like it's a gimmick for this restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
Like this restaurant is a gimmick place where they're rude to you. So that
What's
like
it called?
we're like, what do you want to drink? And they're like, Coke.
Pagan
And she's like, fine. Yeah, I'll find it actually.
Yeah. It's a chain.
I'll put my Google skills. But
it's a chain
like
restaurant. They purposely do that.
Yeah. And if you order water, they're like cheap. And then somebody else is like, oh, cheap.
I think
whatever. Or like boozy or whatever. You're like, rude restaurant in America.
Oh, good.
Perfect.
Yelp.
I have another tangent I could
mention.
mention.
Is going to come up with like nude restaurants or some shit like that. Dick's Last Resort. That's what it's called. It's called Dick's Last Resort.
Dick's. I was going to say, I wanted to say it was like Dickhead or something
Dick's
with Dick.
Yeah. So it's obnoxious. What's it say? Known for its intentional employment of obnoxious staff and funny shenanigans. It's 17 restaurants chain. Wow.
Damn.
I've been to the one that's in San Diego.
Wow.
I don't know if
so
I
not
would,
Hooters.
Yeah. A friend of mine, I would love to go to Hooters.
Yeah,
I would love to go to Hooters. And also Red Lobster. I don't eat lobster, but
Hooters
I would love
has
to go
some
there.
great clam chowder. That's the main reason I went there.
I don't eat chowder. That's weird.
Well,
is
fuck
chowder
that.
just like fish soup?
Chowder. Chowder. You gotta get that fish chowder.
Chowder.
Yeah, chowder. Is chowder just
New
fish
England.
soup?
New England clam chowder.
Drew, clarify for me, will you?
Chowder doesn't necessarily
soup?
mean fish. There are other chowders that aren't fish based.
Really?
There's corn chowder. It's creamy. It's predominantly like a cream soup.
Yes.
Cheesy,
I feel
creamy.
like it's really
Soup in general is
like paste. Like that's the only way I can.
I love soup.
Soup.
Chowder is a type
Is that
of
an
soup
American
or
thing?
stew.
Hold on. Okay, so we got states and we got not states. We are like soup is awesome. You guys are like bass soup.
Yeah, we're not a big soup thing. Although I would say Irish people are loving vegetable soup. Vegetable soup is just a huge thing here.
Scotch broth.
Oh yeah, that's.
Oh really? Scottish broth. Yeah, it's a big thing here. I feel like we don't ever see chowder anywhere. It definitely seems more like an American thing. This is a soup or stew often prepared with milk or cream and thickened with broken crackers, crushed ship biscuit, or roux.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds disgusting.
It sounds horrendous. Don't even look at pictures.
Good. What are you
it's
talking
not worth
about?
your time.
There's
It is
nothing
just
better
going
than
to
a
look
good
horrendous.
chowder with the oyster crackers
Oh,
crumbled
I'm
up
gonna
in
have
it.
to
Like,
get off this Google.
Oh my gosh.
Drew's at home like,
now.
Drew's like drooling, and he's like, God damn it, Pagan.
I need to go to Red Lobster after this.
Gotta get me some
I wouldn't mind going to Red Lobster, but I don't want to get what? I don't know what I'd get at Red Lobster. I don't.
Cheddar biscuits. That's the only place for Red Lobster.
Cheddar biscuits. Fine, I'll have that.
There you go. That's free.
You can get the boxed homemade cheddar biscuits from Red Lobster too.
You also call biscuits. I think they're scones here. I think that's what they're talking. I think it's like scones or scones.
Yeah.
Scones. Scone in Scotland.
Say scones like 12 more times, please.
That's like pizza, like what we have with like flat pizza. In Italy, they would call it as like a flatbread. I'm like, how dare you?
It's just flat pizza. Sorry, we tangented off about food for a while. We do this a lot here. We must be hungry people. Like,
glad I have.
Everybody loves food. What can you say? Everybody loves food.
Yeah, I think it's a cultural thing because we have a diverse culture of guests, and we get comparing things, and food is just a natural thing to talk about and start comparing and talking about in that sense.
Truth.
Yep.
We started with apples, ended on fish and chowder. I don't know how. Chowder.
Went from fruits to actual food. What is
the
this?
dicks?
All right. Moving
on. No good segue from that. So
there's no good segue from food into Get Good.
Get Good.
Right now. You set it up right now.
Actually, there is. Okay, wait. Are we moving into Get Good?
I don't know. Are we?
Okay, I don't know.
Do you have more to talk about on the topic of food?
No, but I can segue it.
Let's try to segue.
Okay,
I want to hear this.
So food is great. Everybody loves food. Talking about food, Todd was on Get Good this week eating a lot of shapes, which I think look like tuck in the UK. I think
he was
they look
eating
like tuck.
Shapes.
Shapes. Yeah, they're called shapes. If you watch the episode,
you mean like
constantly
refers
to shape. Yeah. They're like crackers and they were barbecue flavored, but every so often he'd be like, 30 seconds has gone by. Has everybody tried our new shapes? Not sponsored, but please sponsor us.
Hashtag
as you're drinking a Coca-Cola.
Yeah, this is not at all sponsored by Coca-Cola, but if Coca-Cola wants to sponsor it. If Coke wants to sponsor this, hit us up. Thanks.
Let us know. We'll take that
also,
sponsorship money.
let Pornhub know we're still looking for sponsorship, will you?
You got to make it worth Pornhub's while here, Pagan.
Yeah, I know. We'll get there.
How's that Coke?
Anyway, so it's tasty.
On the notion of Get Good, I watched a good chunk of the edited version of Get Good, like the one that they redid and like broke it down into about an hour and 8 minutes. Was it hour 10, something along those lines?
9.
It was just one segment.
Yeah, I saw the 4-hour live stream, and I kind of jumped around a bit in it, but I was like, okay, I don't have time to watch 4 hours of this live stream. Yeah. I mean, a good hour of it was like the stream is starting. Here's Liam and Todd kind of talking, and they started playing Fortnite, and I'm assuming they moved on to Fall Guys.
Yep.
Yes.
Sure did.
Which is pretty typical of their streams that they've been doing the last couple of months. So I was like, oh, okay, it's just like their streams. That's my take on it. How about you guys?
I did see that one segment and like the 3 hour that 3 hour stream. I watched a good chunk of it, but you can see like the banter between Todd and Liam, and it's like it reminded me so much of like the older Replayer episodes a little bit, but it's their spin on the conversation. Yeah, and I gotta remember what
you can tell they're good buddies like that.
Yeah,
the way they talk to each other, and the back and forth they have,
and especially with like when they did the ads, it's like even though it's like deadpan humor, like you can tell they're having a great time for 30 seconds when they talk about let's we can go show us to Get Good, we can talk about, we play games, we talk, we chat and do other stuff. I'm like, do other
Pagan,
stuff.
when can we start doing like deadpan live reads for ads? Come on.
Oh God, we should definitely do that.
Hey Pagan, how is it down there? Do you need Manscaped?
Have you heard of the Replayer podcast? Do you know where you could sub and support the channel from as little as $1 a month?
Go to manscaped.com, enter Replayer podcast to get 10% off.
I would like to buy 5, please.
I think you're so right though on that though. I think like the Australian humor really comes out with these guys. Like I just think that they are so fucking funny. I'm not like they crack me up. I was there for the full live stream. It's UK time, 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. Sunday. And it was just brilliant from start to finish because like you say, Dan, like at the beginning they were like, hey chat, whatever, like trying to get into this because we're not quite sure how this is gonna run and we've had tech issues, lol.
Yeah.
But it was so cool to sort of see it all up on retro replay as well. Drew was there and they made like Drew unmute himself so that anytime Drew was laughing or getting in on it, like you could hear it.
That had me paying the most attention was when I heard Drew, and I'm like, okay, I just want to hear Drew laughing. Or
I just want to hear Drew laugh. Laugh,
like
Drew.
Divert.
Turn up your mic, Drew.
It's like ASMR for Drew. Like Drew
always
ASMR,
is too,
just laugh.
You hear Liam and Todd, you know, with their back and forth being silly and funny, and then you'll just hear Drew like.
It's like the voice from Oz. It's like pay no attention to the tech guy behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Shout out to Drew, man. Drew, if you're listening, you did an amazing job on Sunday because, my Sunday, because they had tech issues with Liam's stream.
I saw that.
To cut in with Todd's, which actually worked really, really well. I really like that they're intercutting between the two streams anyway, rather than having both of them on the screen at the same time because it's quite difficult to view both their cams and cameras at the same time. So yeah, I thought it went really well. Thought it was a dope thing.
Love the setup and I love the intro. Like, oh my God, Steph killed it with those graphics or Drew. I know he does some of that stuff too. Those graphics were phenomenal. I love that intro and the layout was really cool. I could see where it was kind of glitching and stuff. And it was like, okay, they need to kind of iron this out. They need to get the bandwidth fixed or whatever. But like, it looked awesome.
I think the overlay was done. Why an artist? Hold on 1 second. I know.
Oh, like they actually had somebody make it for them?
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Liam actually reached out and did it, I think. I will go and find it for you now.
Okay. Well, while you're looking, I can ask Kay, you know, did you catch any of that, the live stream or the edited version of it?
I only saw bits of it. But
have you watched any of Todd and Liam's streams in the past?
And I actually never heard of any of them until Get Good. So, I've actually heard of Liam. Because like I felt like everybody knew who Liam was and like was tweeting about him and things. So like I knew of him, but I never like seen his streams or anything. But again, what Emmanuel was saying about like it kind of brought you back to the old retro replay. Like the bits that I've watched, like their chemistry is just so good. Like how they just bounce off each other, and you could tell they've been friends for God knows how long.
A while.
It's been a hot minute.
I found it. It is design and animated custom overlays with Liam and Todd for the new show on Retro Replays Get Good. Had a great time working on it and even better time watching the stream. Get amongst it. And it is from Dane Kirkland. He is a Sydney designer and he did basically the overlays for them. And I think he's also done the overlay for Liam's stream as well. Liam can correct me on that. But yeah. So he did all the custom overlays and shit. And then obviously it was all edited together with Paul and Stephanie and Drew.
So I'm just looking at like the notes that you have. So do they have the stream broken down into the segments? So it's get into it, which is discussion. Then it's get amongst it, where they played Fortnite, and then it was get crazy, where they did a random fan requested game, which this week happened to be Fall Guys.
Exactly. So this week they did Fall Guys because they were kind of setting up and starting, and we're like, right, let's just have a set structure right now. But essentially, get crazy would be the part of the show where they play a game that's fan requested, or as part of the new membership perks that we'll be talking about later, you can you can win a chance to get good, which is to be on the show with Liam and Todd, and that's that section. That'll be the last section there. Usually, unless it's like maybe a Fortnite collaboration or something. If you all have Fortnite and you want to play, then they might be able to set that up for you. It's still in the works. Like we're going to see what happens and what's best for Liam and Todd. But yeah, essentially they'll always play a game and get amongst it that they will all have like pre-picked themselves. Usually it would probably be Fortnite.
I see.
Or I think they were playing Counter-Strike recently, or, you know, something like Sea of Thieves. They might just be playing something that they've played regularly.
Yeah.
And then Get Crazy will be, hey guys, what do you want us to play? Like, here's a list of games. What would you like to see? And then kind of go from there.
That's nice.
that's as far as I know about it. Drew's probably like, no, Pagan, that's not it at all.
Shut up.
So I can stand corrected if
there's
that's
an annotated version on the podcast. It's like, that's not
I would say, hopefully we get the little
Drew's
pop-up notes from...
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
From
I got you. Yeah.
Now we just need to get Drew to start producing our show, and we can have him get those little pop-up bubbles in here.
Hello.
Oh, that'd be great.
Stephanie to edit. No.
Anyways,
Anyway,
just to touch back on that again, like the amongst it part when they were playing Fortnite, I was actually really appreciative of how open and candid they were about everything. Like, there was a point where when they first started and they were like dying terribly, and Todd flat out was like, "Yeah, we haven't played this in 8 weeks."
for sure.
Like, I don't remember any of the controls.
It's pretty funny though, because you can kind of see that like Todd is all right. Todd be sniping some bitches, and you're like, oh damn, Todd, you're real good at this. And then like Liam, you know, he tries.
I did catch a part where Liam got a hold of a boat and was driving it across land.
Oh,
and I was like,
yeah.
I did that in Fortnite. That's what I did when I played it. Like, I was all about driving a boat across the land because you can for whatever reason, and I was running people over with a boat. It was.
I also
glorious.
think it's like I didn't know this. I don't know about Liam and Todd, but when you like hop into a boat or a vehicle, the music starts. Like music plays, and so everybody on stream was like, where is this music coming from? Because nobody knew. Like, nobody's a big Fortnite. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we don't all know what Fortnite is. And we're like, where is this music coming from? And then as soon as he gets at the boat, we're like, oh, this makes sense now. Yeah.
Like, I can see the edit being like the Super Mario Star theme, like coming out of nowhere. It's like...
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But overall, like, super great. And I think that, like, I just wanted to touch on a point that you'd mentioned earlier, that it is quite similar to what they've been doing on their streams. Their streams won't stop. They will still be streaming regularly on each of their channels at like, I think I know Liam is definitely doing something that's more Euro friendly, so that like it is a stream time that's a little bit late for him, but it's earlier for anybody in the UK as well. So if you want to catch that, you can catch it over at Mr. Sparty Pants, Mr. Sparty Pants on Twitch.
Yeah,
very ready to go.
Are they
and
both
I'm a sub
trying to
there?
do that?
So,
Sorry, I talked over. Emmanuel said he's a sub.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was asking if they're both going to try to stream at different times to like hit different time zones.
I'm not sure about Todd's streams at the moment. I don't know why. I presume maybe Todd streams whenever it doesn't like suit me, because I don't get notification. Like, whenever I get a notification, I can't pop into his stream. Like, it's less available for me. Whereas I know Liam has streamed regularly. That's like 3 or 4 p.m. UK time. So I'll pop on if I have a break at work or if I'm on emails or something like that. Then I can like listen to it in the background. But I know that they will do more streaming on Twitch. It's not just a solo retro replay show.
Right.
They will continue doing their stuff over on Twitch.
Nice.
And actually, I should probably get Todd's handle as well. I think it's Achilles.
Anyways, while Peggy's looking that up,
chance.
what do you guys think about the Get Good segment being added to the Retro Replay family? Like, how do you feel about that kind of content? Yeah? Okay.
I think it does make a lot of sense because, again, it kind of brings back to the old Retro Replay. I know, like, they're kind of wanting to maybe do something a bit different now that Troy's not there, but, like, at the same time, I think it's good to have something that kind of like, oh, that's kind of like this, but it's also so different as well. So that's what I like about it. I like that it's on the part of the family.
Yeah.
It's Achilles TJ.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I got the J
TJ.
at least. That's one.
Yeah.
I got one. I got one letter.
Achilles TJ.
How about you, Emmanuel? How do you feel about like Get Good's integration to Retro Replay?
Still working on it. And I followed Liam when he was mentioned in the live stream a few months ago with Nolan when they had the reveal of Get Good. So I am still, and I mentioned it like whenever there's a new segment, I'm cautiously optimistic. But the format itself is actually it's a good idea. Hopefully, like they'll go out of their comfort zones with their titles. Was it Get Crazy? That was the. Hopefully, they can go somewhere past like that list and go to titles that they've never dabbled upon. And even if they play under respective streams, that if they play titles that they're not familiar at all, like it's Get Good. So immediately I thought Dark Souls,
right? That's exactly where my brain was going right then.
they will unravel, but if they go past like their comfort zone and try titles that they're not familiar with, we'd be on board. So I'm still on the fence. Like I mentioned it with the last spot, I'm still on the fence with the new series. But if it gets better, if it improves over the weeks, I'll warm up to it.
They definitely have to iron out some of the details, but I think the best part of Get Good is it's taking a little bit of the pressure off of Nolan, if that makes sense, where Nolan can stick to the retro replay formula, as it were, where he's going to play like older classic games. And I feel like that's kind of Nolan's comfort zone at this point. And there's been people who want them to play newer, more modern games, but that's really not Nolan's bag to play like the new Call of Duty or Fortnite, those fast-paced shooters, twitchy games like that. So I think this is one, we're getting that hang between Todd and Liam. Plus, they're going to play predominantly new, popular, modern games that I think kind of balances that, ratio of like classic to new. So I think that's how this can fill a good role within retro replay.
It's a happy medium. It's a happy medium with that.
Yeah, and obviously they're limited by COVID and everything like that.
And time zones.
Yeah, time zones for sure.
They can't do it in the studio, unfortunately.
No.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
What were you going to say, Kay?
Yeah, what was it?
Oh,
Dan.
Thank you.
Get out of my head, Dan! Stop!
I got you. Hey, we both host this show.
I know.
The one thing that I wasn't like, I think when I first heard of it, I was a bit like, I'm not sure, but I think it was because I was like, where's the actual retro part of retro replay gone? Like that was in the back of my mind. Like ever since like before I left, I've always been like, where's the retro video games gone?
I mean, Uncharted 3 is retro at this point.
Yeah, I actually.
True.
Yeah.
No, I have the answer. I have it.
Peyton's like, I know.
Retro games are not gone. It's just difficult to record it over in COVID because they have to use RetroPie emulator to get a retro game to work, like on NES or SNES. Like, so it's difficult to try and instruct Nolan how to do that all on his own in COVID.
Right, okay.
So he's using what he has available at the moment, and they're just trying to get through anything that's available basically on a store, either on obviously a computer or a PlayStation store that can be used in the meantime. That is generally how the retro has gone down. It's just difficult to film it without being in the studio and having like tech support like Drew to help out with that kind of stuff. So
if you remember,
that's the reason.
All of level 1 episodes, they were generally playing on a PS3, or it was a DualShock PS3 controller hooked up to the RetroPie. One way or the other, they were using some sort of emulation to play the classic games that made it easiest for them to capture the retro footage.
Yeah, so even if like they were able to like sort of get it working, it would just be difficult to capture at home rather than in the studio with all the tech that they have.
As I say, me and Emmanuel are aware of that through our streaming and trying to capture classic retro games. Yeah.
Like it's difficult. But that's what it's doing now. So I feel like they're just gonna try and do, I guess, as much like retro as possible without having to go to like N64 or the ColecoVision or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it's not going to go, it's not going to go all that way back. It's just probably going to be more retro games for Xbox or PlayStation, like PlayStation 1, 2, Xbox 360.
A little bit more easily accessible right now.
For sure. Yeah. Which I actually still enjoy the content by, because I feel like PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 is what I grew up on. So I'm like, yes, play all the games. Like I want to see all of these.
It's more what you're familiar with, making it more relatable for you. Like much what I've gone through with the episodes is like, oh, I play this game. Oh, I play that game. Or I've heard of this game, or I've seen that game. Like you have less of that than I have.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why I think maybe I appreciate the shift now, because I wasn't familiar with all those games, like Narc and things like that. I didn't know about any of that. I was like, oh, I've never played this game before. I played the occasional arcade game, but it just wasn't, I wasn't in the facility to do that here in Ireland and in South Africa. So PlayStation 1 was really all I had. So I kind of like that they're going to go back to these kind of games that will maybe appeal to a younger audience now, which is a good and a bad thing until they get back into the studio, until COVID can fuck off and production can resume as normal.
And it's hard because like I do stream on PS2, and finding those titles even on Amazon and all of these other outlets, I have to drive 20 minutes to get a game, and it's and it's hard. And fortunately, like,
not everyone can be me with a massive PS2 library at their disposal.
I'm sorry, we're not worthy.
We're not worthy.
So, but it takes a lot of logistics to actually like get through. And like, fortunately, there is one that's close to my house, but like in other places, it might be harder to like find it apart from Amazon. And it's a lot of logistics to get through that. Yeah.
But it should be fun. But at least now, like with Get Good and stuff like that, they're going to play like more modern style games. So I see where you're coming from, where you're like, where's the retro part of this? But it's Get Good that's on a channel for Retro Replay. So Retro Replay are just hosting Get Good, if this makes sense.
All right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Retro Replay episodes will still continue every Thursday.
Like, I don't see it overtaking Retro Replay in any form or fashion.
No.
Yeah. It's a series that would be better.
It's not like our Thursdays are going to be an episode of Get Good all of a sudden. We're still going to have Retro Replay.
Mm-hmm.
So
there you go.
Get Good.
So Get Good. It is excellent, and like Liam and Todd are fucking sound, and they're just class, and they're so entertaining to watch. I thought I was gonna be so sleepy watching this thing because it's like it's 1 till 4 a.m. Like, that's not a small chunk of time in the middle of the night. So I was like, I'm definitely gonna fall asleep, and I never did. I never failed to like lose focus or consciousness or anything because I just thought it was so funny and so engaging. Like, the two of them bouncing off each other and then bouncing off chat is hilarious. And I was living for A, Todd's tan, and B, Todd's shape commercials because they were hilarious. Perfect. Loved it.
It just works out at the end.
It works out at the end at 3 a.m.
Yeah, if Arnott's Shapes does not fucking sponsor them
I still don't know what
series, I just don't know them. It's so I actually googled them. I actually googled them for like, because everybody who was on chat was like, damn it, now I want shapes. I'm gonna Google it on Amazon and see how much they are. This is like £8 for a box because they're obviously imported from Australia. But they're just crackers. They're small mini like crackers, maybe this big, and they were barbecue flavor. But there were a few Australians in the chat as well that were like Grace was like pizza shapes or nothing, and I was like they come in a pizza flavor. Yeah, probably. Actually, like, they're just small crackers. I don't know what flavors they have, but it looked dope.
Yeah. When I heard shapes for the first time, I thought they were talking about like toys. And when they broke out the box, like, oh, it's food.
It's food. We can throw in an image of what shapes are here for clarification, but it's Australian Arnott's.
Except for you audio listeners, you're out of luck.
Oops.
Yeah, sorry. There's Savory Biscuits, apparently, is what they're called. Savory Biscuits, produced in Victoria. Very old biscuits. Not like the boxes are old, but the company has been around since the 50s.
Very old biscuits.
100-year-old crackers, anybody?
Stale crackers.
Wait, so are they like wine where they age them? Like, they have to sit for 50 years before they sell.
They're in oak barrels underneath a cavern, and it'll be good after 5 years.
They have Vegemite shapes. Vegemite and cheese. Oh my god. And they're in the shape of Australia.
Oh my.
Oh god, I really want them.
Watch there be a shape of New Zealand, and it's only 2 pieces.
Yeah, they're little hexagon like shapes. A super creative title for the product. But anyway,
there you go.
I was living for those. I came for the gameplay and I stayed for Todd's tan.
I'm here for Liam.
Speaking of tan, on the boat. You better use moisturizer. If you're gonna,
how are you gonna segue this? You can't segue that into Noli. Like, I'm appreciating you're trying.
I have moisturizer right now.
Yeah.
I was looking for anything I could use to like segue into moisturizer, and like when we were talking about being young, I was like, well, if you want to stay looking young, use moisturizer. Like Noli's answer to the first question of Uncle Noli this week, Conan asked, "How do you look so good?" And he said, "Moisturizer." And then he's like, "Nah, it's just full of shit. Genetics. Thanks, Mom and Dad." Did you guys catch this week's Uncle Noli?
Yes, I love it. I love that episode.
You can see yourself out.
Sorry.
All right, I'll end the stream.
Yeah, see you guys. Bye.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It was a good Uncle Noli this week, and we did get some of those little nuggets of like proper wisdom, which I have a favorite, but it's funny that Emmanuel here already kind of mentioned a piece of Uncle Noli advice that was already included in this week. So were you talking about this week's one?
I think that was, trusting your gut. I think that was this week's.
Yeah. I'm sure he's given similar advice because he tends to get a lot of the similar questions.
Yeah.
So, but like trusting your gut, that hit me. I didn't expect that to happen until he said diarrhea. I'm like, there goes the fun.
There it is.
I was like, yeah, oh, good advice, diarrhea. Just broke the illusion.
I mean, I would imagine you want to trust your gut when you feel that happening.
Yeah. Straight to the flusher.
You feel that happening. Lol.
Well, my favorite one that he gave this week it's not so much for the advice itself, but just how thorough he was, and he gave a really good answer to someone asking tips for losing weight. Like someone was saying, I'm looking to start losing some weight. Do you have any advice? And he gave a really good, thorough response, just talking about like make small changes, make sure you're, not only do exercise, but you got to change your diet. You got to stick with it. He gave just really solid, legit advice that somebody could actually properly use, especially he hit on the fact about like making a habit out of something and saying that he heard that it takes 3 weeks to make something a habit. He said, just do these things for 3 weeks. It'll start to stick and you get consistent with it. And I was just like, man, that is just Nolan on the spot giving super critical, helpful information like that in the context of Uncle Noli. And he didn't make a dick joke. He did end it with something I personally thought was really funny when he was just like, I hate running. It was like, yes. We all
ironically I started running, and when that advice came out, and he mentioned everything with balance, and he's right. When I first started actually doing a diet regimen, it's balance. You can't just commit a weekend hard. It's always a balance of things. And when he mentioned like you can do a cheat day, but when you notice that you have that habit of eating sensibly, all of those cheat meals will just go away because you're already in that routine of actually staying healthy. And I started running at the early summer, like once the lockdowns actually started going away in my state. Like the first thing I did was just, I'll just run around because we have a marathon track near my house, and I just started running. And then it's funny when Nolan mentioned like there's a balance in things. I'm like, this is what I've been doing for the past 3 months, and it's like, at least Uncle Noli confirmed it in his own way that like, hey, you're doing something right. And I'm like, yes, all right, cool. I solidified that.
Good. Perfect. Yeah, really glad.
Yeah, running is like an escape too. Like once I get in the car, once the running's done, it's that runner's high, and I just drive fast like a maniac going home. I'm like, yes, this is so satisfying.
Drive safely. Oh God.
No.
Drive like a maniac.
Miles above. 5
the
miles.
The Replayer podcast does not condone speeding.
I don't know, Pagan. Have you ever put on some good speed metal and just
Actually, yes. The Mad Max Fury Road soundtrack?
Oh my God, perfect.
That is if you need to get somewhere, like and I would put it on because I would actually get somewhere on time. Because if I don't, I'm not a lazy driver, but like I'm a slow driver. I just am. I enjoy driving, and I don't like breaking a speed limit or anything. I want to try and go all the way under anyway. Because if you get a ticket here, it's so expensive, and then you get penalty points, which raises your insurance, etc.
Yes.
So I'm like, it is not worth it. So I'm driving Miss Daisy, honestly, unless I put like Mad Max Fury Road on in the car, and then I'm
time stops. It just goes fast.
Yeah. Then I'm
just get like the warp speed, like.
But I'm just
exactly.
Yeah. But I'm just like at speed level, like I'm at like the limit rather than just under.
Oh, it's within limit. It's just me just getting that runner's high. It's like, yeah, drive 25 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite from this week's Pagan?
I really liked the healthy advice. I thought that was great. I also liked the wings guy thing. He looked like a wings guy, and he's like, "You eat your wings wet and naked, like you freaky."
That was the one that I was hinting at earlier, where he takes an answer and just like spins it on its head. Because Kay, since you didn't catch this one, the question he got was, "You look like a wings guy."
Yeah, I did see that bit. Yeah.
You saw that one, okay?
I think that was in the little teaser. So.
Yes, yeah, you're right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was a great one. I really enjoyed that one. Trusting your gut was great, but I think you've touched on that before, Emmanuel. And there was another one. I'll check now. Hold on. Oh yeah, don't start a fight. This guy was like, I want to fight this bully because I know jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, yo, bro, I know jiu-jitsu, and don't be starting fights. Like, that's against jiu-jitsu policy. Like, I don't know about Brazilian jiu-jitsu or whatever, but the traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu, it's a self-defense technique, not an attacking technique. You're trying to just defend yourself.
Anyone who's watched Karate Kid,
start a fight. Yeah,
my mind
we'll know
immediately.
Not
my
to
mind went
start
immediately
a
to
fight.
Karate Kid when you mentioned don't start a fight. I'm like, I think he's gonna break out the headband. Lo and behold, it did.
Yeah. Like, just don't do that. Like don't do it. I think, and I will just put it out there that I think martial arts are really is really important to learn at some point in your life. I just think especially for kids as well, because it teaches not only self-defense but discipline. And I don't mean that in a weird way. I just mean something to follow rules and personal discipline.
Yeah,
follow rules, keep yourself healthy and fit, and do it. I did it for years, and I loved it. I loved doing it. Probably have retained absolutely nothing from it, but I loved doing it at the time. And it was I did the traditional Japanese style one. So when you were doing katas and stuff, it was all very precise. And there were bow katas and things like that as well, where you would just be extremely precise, and there would be bowing and things like that as well. And I just think it's great. So I feel like if you're ever interested in doing some sort of martial arts, follow that lead and just go and do it, because I highly recommend. But don't fucking start fights. Wait until a fight starts on you and then fuck them up, but don't start the fights.
Not to mention, you get to be that guy in the movie that's the quiet guy who stands in the corner with his arms behind his back, and then the shit goes down, and then he just blah, 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 and kicks everybody's ass, and
John Wick, is that you?
And you just go back to
yeah, right?
You have sleeves all of a sudden that your arms go into the sleeves, and you're just
yeah. I used to love when the teachers and everything like your senseis and stuff like that would teach you something. And I don't know if it's just Irish humor or whatever, there's particularly gnarly moves that you're just oh yeah. So anytime we would do it, you wouldn't obviously go full throttle at something, especially if you're gonna chuck somebody into a wall or throw them over your shoulder or whatever, and you'd be look at that, snap the wrist or snap this, or bust the elbow and everything, and you're the senseis would make that face as well, and I'm this is great. I love that. It's just yeah, fuck them up, and you're okay. All right then. But yeah, funny. I like that.
Awkward.
That bit of advice was great. I highly enjoy. Uncle only knows.
Always.
I'm pretty much just waiting at this point just to see how much Pagan will
No, you can't do that because I don't like silence.
I try to jump in because if there's awkward silence, go. We gotta keep going, keep going.
Emmanuel knows I don't like silence. I can't sit inside unless I'm on my own.
Oh yeah.
If I'm on my own in my house, I'm silent pretty much all day, unless I'm going to practice something or sing something. But silence. But if I'm talking to somebody and we're in a group conversation and there's just a lull, I'm must fill this silence.
Why are you
must yell, must find noise,
must entertain. Yeah.
Well, shout out to Mittens at the end of this episode of Uncle Noli.
I was funny. I was working from home and I was listening to the episode, and when I heard that question came up, I'm like, mittens? Oh, what's that? And I hear, wham! Oh no! I jumped off my seat. I had my headphones on and I had it loud. Next thing you know, and I heard the screech. I'm like, okay. I jumped off my seat, nearly fell off. I'm like, yeah, that's a wake up call for work. All right, get back to work.
Yeah, I honestly don't miss Mittens. So it was funny for the bit of I want to see Mittens. Please bring Mittens back. And it's I liked Mittens in the early days when they were doing it, and especially because it was Nolan basically doing a bit, and then he'd be like, yeah, and then you'd get Mittens, and it would be this fun interruption, and it was usually throwing Troy off of whatever he was on about.
Whatever tangent he was on.
So now to just throw Mittens in randomly is just kind of Yeah, it's a funny sound. It's loud.
But not hearing it in a long time, that was a surprise. Like,
yeah,
I was like,
it worked in that context.
Yeah, we haven't had it in a while, so it was about time. You know, you have to get it in. Like, there must be a quota they got to reach every like quarter 4, or something.
It's about time. Sponsor us, Crash Bandicoot.
Oh Jesus! Can you imagine? That'd be amazing.
Universal, sponsor us. That's good. That's good.
Well, now I have no segue. So, any other thoughts on Uncle Noli before we move on?
No.
Perfect.
He's great.
He's great.
Next.
Speaking of greatness, do you want to review the membership upgrades that were announced this week?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Retro Replay has been working really hard.
Intern Pagan.
Yes. Retro Replay have been working really, really hard on getting you guys upgraded membership perks because we kind of thought that they were like, just the community in general, because I think like we had a look at the memberships that were there and just wanted to revamp them, wanted to spice them up as well, and then started to include Liam and Todd as well into them. Mm-hmm. So the memberships were upgraded. It's membership 2.0, and there is a video on YouTube. You can head over to Retro Replay's YouTube channel to check it out. But we have some of the biggest upgrades so far, which include a personalized voicemail competition. So just by being a member, there's nothing you need to do. Just by being a member, you will be entered into a personalized voicemail competition. Per tier gives you more entries. So you have 1 membership entry in Welcome to the Party Pal, 2 in Get Good, 3 in Drew Soup, and 4 in Altered Beast. So we'll basically put you into a random generator. It is not at all favoritism. It's just a random thing that we enter your email into twice, 3 times, 4 times. And then it picks out a winner, and we'll just contact you and I guess go from there. Find out what you're looking for, who you'd like the voicemail from, and we'll go from there. So that's great. So that's just a perk by just being a member that's added to our lowest tier and then obviously personalized as we go up. We also have a 12-month membership pin, again, across all memberships. If you have been a member for over 12 months with Retro Replay, you were
I'm excited about that one.
A pin.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting one now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So fill out the loyalty pin form and we'll be able to send one over to you.
There's a form?
There is.
I must have missed that. Okay.
That's fine.
I got to do that.
I'll send it over to you. You're welcome.
Write the phone.
Yeah. It should be on the Retro Replay membership channel, but if not, I will. You can pop me over an email to members@retroreplayshow.com. The other ones we have then the Get Good tier. We used to obviously be the lick the screen. I think this is the biggest change for everybody. This is now including a bit more from Liam and Todd, and you also get 15% discount for Get Good. So previously you would just have the 10% discount across all memberships, and now for Get Good, Drew Soup, and Altered Beast, you get 15% off merch.
Yay,
Woohoo!
merch.
Including signed merch. Signed by the cast and crew for a mug or Uncle Noli hat, signed hat. Just so fucking dope. Thank you for modeling that, Dan. Thank you.
I don't have the merch on that. Oops.
Yes, right? Thank you. Thank you for modeling that. Look at this. Oh my god. Me and Emmanuel are like, shit. Retro Replay. I actually got my stealth shirt in the post today, so I might have to put that on later.
Ooh.
Oh no, I'm the odd man out.
Oh my.
We also have priority questions for members live. So this, I believe, is coming into the Drew Soup and Altered Beast tier, where you can enter. I do want to just double check that. I think it's Drew Soup and Altered Beast. Essentially, what we'll do is we'll put up a community post for you just before we go live on a members live stream, so that you can pop your questions in there, because I know sometimes the live chat, especially like
that reminds me of
so fast.
That's similar to when we remember a few weeks ago they did the live chat with Nolan, and they asked community members to submit questions, so they had those ones kind of locked and loaded. So I feel like that's kind of playing off of that notion.
Yeah, it was us testing it out. So I just thought like I think it's a really valid way of getting your questions answered. Not everything will be answered. I will just say, like, there could be 1,000 questions there and we just don't have time for them all. And Nolan does want to chop through between members' priority questions as well as chat questions as well. Because sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's in the view of fairness, we want to get everybody's questions in. So we'll have a few from the members' priority, and then we'll get some here. Sometimes the questions are duplicated anyway. So just want to make sure that you guys are heard. From there, it's Drew Soup and Altered Beast. We also have, I feel like one of our most exciting membership perks is win a chance to get good. Again, you don't have to do anything to be entered into this. You are automatically entered if you are on a Get Good, Drew Soup, or Altered Beast tier. You are also randomized into this random email generator. And when it comes out, like, I'll be contacting you and we'll be talking about a shoot date. What do you want to do? You can either play a game with Liam and Todd, or you can just go on and chat. We don't know how long the segments are going to be at the moment. It's, again, still a little bit up in the air, but we'll see kind of what works for Liam and Todd and the guests who are chosen. And again,
right.
Yeah. And it should be a monthly opportunity competition. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
And then the other two are monthly Zoom calls. Zoom with the cast and crew for Drew Soup and Altered Beast, and then Zoom with the cast for Altered Beast. And they'll happen once a month. At the moment, dates are TBC. But once a month, you'll get to hang out with either the crew or the cast and a crew member. So it'll either be me or Drew moderating Zoom chats as well. So yeah, a whole bunch of exciting membership perks have been announced. If there's questions or if you guys have feedback or anything, send it over to members@retroreplayshow.com, because you can pop it in the link if you want. You can pop it in the link below.
Get that burned in your brain now.
Yeah.
2-second brain fart. 2 seconds.
2 seconds. But yeah, I think they're pretty great. I think the memberships needed a revamp, especially after Troy left. And then obviously their live shows are now postponed, I guess, because of COVID. So that whole like front row seats and everything like that, there was no value to them, especially sometimes the UK. So I don't know if that'll be brought back once COVID's over. But in the meantime, though, these are pretty great membership perks. What did you guys think? Have you guys all seen the video?
Yeah.
Kay, what did you think?
I thought, like, immediately when I looked at them, I was looking at them thinking, okay, Altered Beast, but then, like, I saw the lowest perks and thought, damn, these are really good. Like, I could just easily drop right down. Because I'm Altered Beast just now.
You do what you want.
I'm Altered Beast just now, and I was thinking, I've not watched it as much, so, like, I'm not sure if I should really drop it or not. But I saw these perks, and I'm like, you know what? I think I will stay where I am, but if I was to go down, it wouldn't feel like such a loss, because, like, these perks are so good. Like, I'm sitting there going, damn, like, should I just save my money? Like, I don't know, because they're just so good. And I think that's great. A revamp.
See, I love that. As an Altered Beast member, I feel like if you did, because there's plenty, especially now with COVID, people have had to cancel memberships or pause them or drop down. And that's another thing that we wanted to take into consideration. Like, we wanted to consider that, like, every single tier has something amazing for it going, you know what I mean, going for it, because you didn't feel like it would be such a big loss if you had to drop for any reason. But that's great, Kay. I love that feedback. That's cool. Is there anything that, like, you saw that you were like, fuck yeah, that's a great perk, I want that?
I thought, like, the Zoom calls, I was like, geez, where did that come from? Like, I thought that was so cool. And I was just like, yeah, I like this. I like this a lot.
Good.
So yeah, I think the Zoom calls are getting me the most excited.
Good. I'm glad. Emmanuel, what do you think?
I moved up. So, like, before even I started with welcome. I think I moved up from the first to. I didn't know it was Lick the Screen at the time when I saw the Get Good tier, and it's like, oh, okay, that's actually pretty good. So, but I moved up. Like, hopefully soon. Like, I might move up to Altered Beast. It's just with everything, especially with the pandemic, where it's hard to like actually know who to support, and I support people. Like, I have Patreons of some people that I support with it, and when content that I actually genuinely like. But especially like with hard times, I had to like limit some of them. But when I saw the perks with the Get Good tier now, and seeing Todd and Liam get a chance to play with them, and I was like, you know what, I'll stick here for now. And this will work out. So I moved up like months ago, and then when I saw them have a chance to play with them, I was like, you know, I'll be here. I'll be here for a while.
Nice. Good. I'm so glad. What about you, Dan?
I still like that pin.
That pin is awesome. Pin is exciting. I love the pin.
I like it. It's a retro replayer pin. Like, that is just awesome. I thought everything was really cool. I'm glad that they've been able to find a good way to revamp the perks to give extra value to them, because I know they struggled with that in the beginning. The thought that you could get included to play with Liam or Todd and Get Good is a great repurposing, because I know they've been wanting to do more of that. So that's exciting just for the community. Like that to me is what makes me hopeful for everyone to feel like, okay, like this is happening, like things are getting much more involved with us. And I think this stems from we personally, with our podcast and our guests that we have a strong sense of the community and how much people felt like, I don't know, and now Troy's left, and and like people wanted more of like the multiplayer segment that we were on. They wanted like, oh, we want to be able to play, we want to be able to get on the show, and this is giving people that chance. So that's all exciting stuff to me.
For sure. I think like I took a lot of stuff from like Discord and stuff like that as well. I asked for feedback there and scrolled back to when it was like originally announced as the memberships as well. And then just brought all that to the Drew and the team and was like, listen, this is
the Drew,
what happened, and the Drew and the team.
The Drew.
He's the boss. So so I brought it to them and just was like, here, this is feedback. This is what I think. And it's so nice to still like see a lot of membership activity. Like they're so vocal as well. Like replayers are always vocal here on the podcast as well. We ask for like your honest feedback. We have the Facebook page, the Discord, Twitter. Like it's so nice. So as soon as you see something, you just like search a hashtag or go onto the Facebook page and be like, right, what's the feedback? How can we like fine tune this? And that's essentially what my job is there. Like I just want to be helpful and make sure that the community voice is heard as well. In that same vein, we did see that like obviously you wanted a chance to be on the show, so we had Win a Chance to Get Good is a membership tier perk. There is another feature now that Nolan had mentioned in the members live chat on Sunday. I don't know if any of you guys caught that. There is a new feature coming to the Retro Replay episodes on Thursday. It's a trial right now, so we are not sure if it's going to go every Thursday, but at the moment it is. And I will basically be reaching out to a few members at the moment to come on and trial this. After the trial period is run, there will actually be a way to sign up for this, and then you'll just get listed, and we'll schedule them in for this. So essentially what I'm doing right now is like, I would select replayers that I know would be interested or who have outreached to me. It's absolutely fine. But as soon as it starts rolling, I guess from next week, you will probably see the episodes. So you'll see how it works. We'll all see the feedback. And if it continues like this, then there will actually be a way to sign up for this. So that's kind of a really exciting segment as well to be on Retro Replay.
Do they have
as well as winning a chance to get good. You can get on both.
Do they have a name for that segment yet?
I don't know.
Because I know Nolan hinted at it in the live chat. And he said that they're trying to do like a game show kind of thing. They get replayer guests to come on, answer some questions, earn points, whatever.
That's right. Yeah. It's a very short, fun segment. It's just a small way to get the community involved, especially with Nolan.
Letting replayers come on and chat with Nolan. That's fantastic.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an exciting time. We'll keep you all posted. I suppose like from next week and the week after, we'll all know a little bit more about that segment, if it's going to continue to go ahead or if not. But yeah, it's an exciting time for Retro Replay and the revamp. I think like the membership revamping, the show is coming out next week. We'll sort of find some sort of middle ground here. And if anybody has feedback, like anybody here on the show, Kay, Emmanuel, Dan, anybody listening to the show, like send it over, because we always do appreciate your feedback and we will take it on board. If not immediately, it'll still get like listed as something that you've fed back on. So I'm still happy to take that in.
Proof that you said yourself that you specifically, but Retro Replay, were you're looking at considerations from months ago. So make your
for sure.
voice heard.
Yeah, when there was an idea to revamp this, I took to Discord because I knew that was the biggest place at the time, because it was January, and January the Discord had been a year old at the time. So that was where everybody was like most vocal about what the membership tiers were like, how much they cost, what did they include, was it worth it, do you think, blah blah blah. So I went all the way back and like just took all the stuff that was negative, I guess, said that was constructive, and I just brought it back and I was like, hey, listen, people love this, people hate this, or some people like that, others don't get much whatever out of this. And we came up with these, and I think these are so dope. Like I think these are really good membership perks, and I think it will really kind of stick to the community and bring us all together in Zooms.
In Zooms.
What was that?
Whacking her mic stand.
I know. I was like, what?
I like to speak with my hands. I'm very expressive, and I just go
those hands out. That's why my pole arm
I need
is right
one of those
here.
ones that come like above so that I don't smack my mic when I'm talking.
It's right here. That's why it's right there.
See? Yeah, okay, but there was no place to put it over there. It's too short, okay? I'm moving soon, hopefully, and I'll get a new studio, so I will set up a better setup.
Set up a better setup.
Yeah.
Speaking of community involvement, this week's episode of Retro Replay was actually Nolan reacts to artwork from fans. So
yes,
a fully loaded community-themed episode, similar to Nolan reacts to comments, but this time it was actually artwork pieces that they had requested a couple of months back that were something inspired by Nolan as a character, actor, what have you. And we got the special guest, now his name escapes me, but I know he's been a big comic book artist that's worked on Marvel Comics. He was a big part of the X-Men cartoon, which was one of my favorite cartoons as a kid growing up. So that to me was like phenomenal.
Shannon Denton.
Thank you. I was like, I know you got it. I also heard that
he's a TV writer and TV and film artist.
I heard he basically helped create Deadpool as a character, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he was there to help critique the art along with Nolan, reacting to the different art. I assume you guys caught this episode.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. What did you think of this episode?
You can see
he's like, is it me?
Walk over.
I don't know who to start.
Look away.
Walk over there. And with every fandom, there will be community art, whether it's the bigger ones like Funhouse or Achievement Hunter, or like you see the fandom, or because I grew up with Rooster Teeth over the years, so like when you see like that community growing, the fan art will probably show up too. And seeing the prompts with all of the Lily caught me by surprise. That was one of her drawings. I was like, she must have done this like hand on the computer. It's like, no, it was realistic.
Pencil art, yeah.
It was mind blowing, and seeing like the talent from
shout out to Lily Kay.
There you go, Lily. Oh.
She was on the show with Kay last time.
Me.
Yeah, I was gonna say we had Lily Kay and Kay on the show together.
Yeah.
There you go. And seeing like the smaller like artists actually doing art, hopefully that'll get them more explicit. I know, I'm hearing you. I know. There's a motorcycle running by.
I know.
So, especially when you see like the talent behind what's highlighted on the show, shows that like Retro Replay as a community, it's such a very diverse background with not just like comedy, and you see like the art that's being done, and seeing these smaller artists actually doing their thing is kind of a cool thing to see on a Thursday, where we usually see like Uncharted playthroughs and all these playthroughs, and what's highlighting them is probably like the best thing about that live show on Thursday.
Agreed.
Sorry, there was a motorcycle. I was like,
sorry.
I apologize.
Oi!
No.
I'm recording a podcast.
Yeah.
Curse you.
Get out of here, you mangy kids.
There you go.
Sorry, anyway, go ahead.
I wanted to throw out there that I can't speak myself because I didn't get a piece of art submitted. I haven't made any fan art of any of Nolan's characters. I used to draw back in the day, but I digress. It must have been an awesome feeling, though, if you were one of those people that submitted and saw your art on screen and saw like, oh, that's mine. And they're talking about it. Like, I can only imagine how great that must have felt for some of our replayer friends that we've seen their pieces displayed on there.
I'm
sure, and it gives them encouragement, and it encourages them to do better. And it's like, oh my gosh, Nolan actually talked about my piece. All right, I'll do better. So it's a nice little encouragement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shannon mentioned that, right? Is it Shannon?
Oh yeah. About improving your artwork.
He touched on encouragement and how that's a huge part of getting better when people look at your art and encourage it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kay.
What did you think?
Well, again, I was so excited. I kind of thought in my head that Lily was going to get mentioned because I was like, come on, how could you not mention her artwork? Like I have a massive, her Retro Replay fan art behind me.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Big love to Lily, big love to her.
Big love to Lily.
I also loved the different styles as well, because you had like the traditional like hand drawn like Nathan Drake or whatever, but then you have Brits, which is like the skull and the
Brits
dagger.
That's so good. So good.
And like I just thought it was so cool. And as well, my friend Kristen, like she's not well known in retro replay community, but she's known in the Red Dead Redemption community. And she drew this Nathan Drake piece, and she was like, "Oh look, it's been mentioned." I'm like, people are gonna know you, like they're gonna know you for your art and just for your talent. Nice. Just share it. Don't feel frightened. She's like, "Oh, but it's so small and it was so shit and they shouldn't have seen it." And I'm like, "No, it's not. Listen, they're gonna love it." Yeah, like I just think it's great as well, and it's gonna be, I guess, like good push to artists as well.
Yeah.
I think it's insane how a lot of artists just don't understand their ability. They don't see how good that they are. Like I remember, as you guys might know, that I'm a journalist. I just put it out. But I'm a journalist. I interviewed Rob Wheatoff, who plays John Marston in Red Dead Redemption. And he was sitting in his chicken coop when I was calling him, and it's filled with fan art. Filled like from wall to wall, filled with
That's
fan
so
art.
Cool.
Oh wow.
And
I love that.
I was like, "Oh, I think my friend Kristen's artwork's up there." And she was like, "Oh, right, okay." And he's actually looking around to find it. And he was like, "There it is right there." And I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." And it's good to think that Nolan would probably do that as well. Mm-hmm. Like if he had the space, he'd probably just have like fan art everywhere.
Yeah, his whole house is covered in fan art.
I don't know if one room be remotely possible, but I just had a thought of like a similar themed future entry into retro replay. Like we have a lot of replayers who are working on becoming game developers or are game developers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's something that potentially down the road they could be like, let's look at fan video games or something like that.
I just want to throw it out there that we've been trying to get Liam to play Among Us for ages, and Liam says he doesn't want to play Among Us. He actually wants to work with a dev to make a game that's better than that because he has an idea. So if you have any devs in the community that actually do want to make a video game or can like have the capacity to make something with Liam, hit me up or hit Liam up on socials because he wants to talk to you. He wants to talk to you about making a video game that's better than Among Us. I don't know what kind of idea he has. Yeah, it sounds sus. I don't know what kind of idea he has, but I just wanted to throw that out there when you said that there are.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Opportunities everywhere.
Yeah. Liam is a creative guy. I mean, he made the card game too, right? He's like some of the new retro replay merch stuff that Liam made.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
yeah.
He digging it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's all right.
He's all right.
It's like
we'll keep him around. It is what it is.
All right.
There you go.
Liam Hemsworth wasn't available, so.
Next best, Liam.
Even the other Hemsworth's not available.
No.
The long lost Hemsworth is the only one we get.
He's a long lost Hemsworth. That's why he's there. Yeah. Now I think this week's episode of Nolan Reacts to Artwork was incredible, and I don't know how many people actually listen to the show, like in terms of who has submitted artwork, but if you have submitted artwork, thank you so much for submitting it. We had so many entries, like so many. And all of your artwork is amazing. They just couldn't show everything on the show. So it's unfortunate that like if yours didn't get shown. But there are some amazing, like there's some replayers in there. Robbie Nate, obviously, with her Fall Guys and the Sackboy Nate. You had obviously Britt O'Neill as well. And Lily's artwork is just like,
if anything, hopefully, because I know they mentioned like the relaunch of the website, and that's something that they've been working on for a while. So possibly down the road, there could be a community fan art page. Wink, wink.
Oh, that would be
wink. Yeah, I have asked.
Awesome.
So
I've already asked that. I said, if they don't get listed on the show, can they be listed on the website? And he was like, potentially. And I was like, great.
Perfect.
So yeah. Same frame. And I just want to throw a shout out to Tina. To Tina actually, and someone called Jack who did Jack did the custom Lego.
Yeah, the custom Lego was awesome.
That's really cool.
That was
really
fucking
cool.
dope. And Tina did the Deadpool ghost, and I'm like, yes,
the Deadpool ghost was awesome.
Great.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Like I loved that kind of medium as well. Like a tangible medium was so fucking cool.
And I have that realization in the moment when they show those things, and I'm like, that's right. Like art doesn't necessarily have to be like a drawing. And
it's
like,
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And I kept thinking, I don't know why, I kept forgetting it was live. Did anybody else? Because obviously it's himself and Shannon speaking, but like occasionally he'd like throw it over and mention something that someone in chat would say.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, oh yeah. Yeah. I forgot that it was actually live. Until then you hear like Drew chuckling.
There was a point towards the end where Pat, friend of the show, came into the live chat. Yeah. And he's like, we were all like, oh, hey, Pat, how's it going? We haven't seen you in a while because he hasn't been coming to the live shows that often. And he's like, Pat, who's Pat? What's going on? And we're like,
it's just Pat. Pat just came
Pat.
in.
Pat. Who?
Yeah, I saw that. I caught that. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, that's dope. That's dope. I thought that was cool that it was live. I just kept forgetting that it was. I gotta say though, I did a spit take when he was talking about the artwork that has like a red.
Oh, the headshot.
Yeah. And he's like, "Whoa, I look like Kennedy the day he got shot." I was like, "Nolan, you can't say that." Oh, I did a spit take. It was so funny. And then he's like, "No, let me talk." So it was funny. And her artwork is actually really, really good. The more I look at it, I actually love her artwork. She's 16 years old, and her piece was really interesting. It's just because the color of the like spiky splat or like expression symbol behind is red. That's why.
Everyone was taken to assume it meant he just got headshot and went.
Yeah. I chuckled super hard at that. That was fucking hilarious.
I was like, Kennedy. Oh, he did not go there. He went there.
What? Too soon? Come on.
40 years too soon. Yeah, let's go with that.
Too soon.
Man, that was good. That was so funny. I chuckled so fucking hard at that, man. And just Shannon freezing. I feel like that made the whole episode. Shannon freezing is smart.
That should be a screenshot for like the title.
Usually it's Drew freezing, so that made a good change. That's fun.
Just pass that on to another person. It's like, yes.
Yeah. I thought it was funny. Oh yeah, I thought it was a really good idea.
Cool. And we already kind of touched on the new episode of the show coming next week.
I think they mentioned that in chat. Did they? I had to duck out.
I didn't pick up on it. If they did, I think I actually got caught up showing some of my own art in our Zoom chat to other replayers. We started going our own little art show.
Cool.
Talking about art in the replayer hang. So
nice.
I might have missed that.
Yeah, I think they dropped it in the chat.
So
they dropped it in the live chat at
know.
The end. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So not a lot of members know that like the new episode is coming next week, but it's announced. Like they were talking about it in chat last week. So
cool.
It'll be really interesting to see how it goes. I'm really looking forward to seeing it air.
All right. Unless you guys have anything else to add from that episode, I think it's time we're going to start wrapping the show up. I would like to say we have any retro replies, but now that I know that it's a perk for people to get their questions answered in live chats, I think retro reply is going to be doomed.
Less. Nah, it's all right. It's all right. We'll send some random questions. We'll just think of random stuff.
All right. Well, if you have a question that you want us, Peggy, you could send it to Pagan. She, Yeah,
DM me. If you have a question for like anybody, cast or crew on Retro Replay, DM me because we'll send it across for the podcast. We'll get it answered on the podcast.
Yeah, so send that over to Pagan, or you can email us at thereplayerpodcast@gmail.com. You can also rate us there if you are interested in coming on the show to be a replayer guest. Send us your questions, comments, concerns, ideas for Pagan to get Pornhub sponsorship.
I feel like that's a don't go down.
Don't go there.
It's really funny. I actually just want to throw it out there. I was like, I made this joke before when we put the art link live, and we were like, "Hey, everybody, submit your art." I was like, "Drew, we're gonna get dick pics, right?" And he's like, "That's all you, Pagan." He's like, "That's all you. You filter through that," and not one dick pic. Just saying.
It's impressive.
It's unfortunate.
Foreshadowing. That's foreshadowing somewhere.
Yeah, actually, it probably is. It probably is. But I was like, we are bound to get something if this link is public. And then nothing. We got really fucking awesome artwork. And it's wholesome to fill my heart that there was no dick pics that I had to sift through.
Yeah, especially when you post anything publicly.
Yeah, right? Especially, like, that was my concern. I was like, publicly? Oh, God. And then it worked out really fucking well. So, good job, Drew.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. And then again, you can also message me or Pagan on Twitter for anything as far as questions, or if you'd like to be on the show, you can always hit us up there. This is our time to let our guests share anything they want to share their socials, what have you. I'm going to throw it over to Kay first.
Okay. So my Twitter is now, oh my god, this is gonna be so awkward now, but
no,
let me write this down. Write it down.
I know.
Kay there later.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And my Instagram is still K_Simpson11. And I don't know when this is coming out, so I don't know if I could share this, but
this is coming out Wednesday, if this helps.
Okay, I can share this then. So I have an interview lined up with Jeffrey Pierce, who's
no
for me from The Last of Us. So we're not doing like a face-to-face. I think it's just like I'm sending him questions and he's just going to answer them.
Okay,
that's
gotcha.
awesome.
Yeah, and he's followed me on Twitter and stuff, and it's a great thing. I'm so excited to get started. I'm still trying to wrangle Nolan and try.
Now, where can we find that though? Like, where can we find your interview with Jeffrey?
It will be on my WordPress, my blog. It's called A Million Little Thoughts, but the actual link is called replayerkk.game.blog.
Okay.
Perfect. We can, if you
we'll have all that.
Send us that in the Twitter DM, and then we'll pop it in the show note links.
Yep.
And if any of you are Last of Us thoughts, I'm doing. I don't know if you've seen that concept art of it's Joel dancing with his girlfriend, and they just decide not to put her in the game.
Yeah, that's right, Esther, right?
Esther. Mm-hmm. So I'm doing a little fan fiction. I promise it is not sexual.
What if we want sexual?
Yeah, god damn it.
There is something I have written in my head. There's something sexy gonna happen, but I'm keep putting his force no, I'm not gonna write it.
All right, I gotta go.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
He's gonna get Knight
again,
Rider?
but slower. Just kidding. Never mind. Okay, sorry.
So don't worry about that.
The other thing I was gonna ask you though is, do you have a YouTube channel? Where we can see your interviews?
I've literally just done one interview just now with Michael Malenfi, who plays Sean McGuire in Red Dead Redemption 2. And he was my first face-to-face interview. And
that's awesome.
My YouTube channel, I think just look up K Simpson, it'll pop up.
Okay.
I actually have no idea what
we can link it. We'll link it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, this is I'm rambling on, but I, as most of you, as I've said, I'm a game journalist, but I'm also an ambassador for Game Hers. And so many amazing people, because I've asked, have nominated me for a Game Her Award for Game Journalist of the Year. And I've had people like Roger Clark, Rob Wheatoff, Mick Malanphy all saying that they've nominated me. And I just want to say, all those who have nominated me, thank you so much. And we'll find out if I've made the finalists.
Nice.
Sometime in October.
Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
Well, good luck, Kay. I really hope you win.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Emmanuel, where can we find you?
So I stream on Twitch. This will be the last week I'm doing these special schedules. You can find me on Twitch at DepShep, and on Twitter I will be at DepShep, and Instagram it'll be at Nayman. So I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Actually, at the time of this recording, I will be finishing my really irregular schedules because of Monster Hunter World, but I'll be back to the Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule to go back to our to streaming again. So nice. I usually stream Monster Hunters on Mondays. Fridays I will go back to For Honor, thank goodness. And Wednesdays I will do usually I do an old PS1 or PS2 streams on Wednesdays. So after the first week, which I'm finishing Yakuza, the following week I'm actually going to start Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero. So if you know that game,
I do know that game.
If you know that game, I'm gonna probably lose my mind over the next few weeks.
Die a lot.
Yeah, I've seen videos, and I understand the plight.
It doesn't seem like my type of game.
I actually really enjoyed the premise of that game, but the gameplay was not there.
It's a disaster. That's an understatement. So, but yeah, I'll finish up Yakuza next. The time the podcast comes out this Wednesday, and the next week I'll start up Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero.
Nice.
There you go.
I look forward to trying to check that out if I can.
Yeah.
Be a busy boy.
7 p.m. Eastern time. I forgot to put that too for all those 3 days.
Yes. Time zones.
Yeah.
All right. And then lastly, Pagan, where can we all find you?
You can find me at Pagan Plays on Twitter and at Pagan_Plays on Instagram. My Twitch is at Pagan_Plays. I'm now streaming Tuesdays or every other Tuesdays because of scheduling difficulties during COVID. And YouTube is just at Pagan Plays. There's no underscore. It's just a space between Pagan and Plays.
With a blue name and a gear mark if you happen to be on Retro Replay.
Yeah, they made me mod. I'm so excited.
Round of applause.
It's like,
yeah,
Pagan's
dude, that
blue.
was so cool. I had to find out who did that. I think it was Drew. So I'll have to thank Drew and be like, thank you.
We're moving on up.
All right, and then lastly, you guys can find me at Stark Evil Vash via Twitch, Xbox, and PlayStation, wherever you want to find me. I am on Instagram as well, and I am Stark Evash, StarkyVash on Twitter. Be sure to hit us up there with your love and appreciation, because we thrive on it.
Also, if you want to be on the show, like hit myself or Dan up on Twitter and pop a DM.
Yes.
Slide into those DMs, friends.
That sounded wrong.
I know.
No.
Phrasing.
So right.
Add that to your fan fiction, Kay. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Replayer Podcast. Our episodes go up every Wednesday. Yes. Thank you so much to everybody over at Retro Replay, because without all of you, we would not be here making this podcast.
For sure.
And thank you to our guests, Emmanuel and Kay, for joining us this week. Clang.
So excited!
Clang, so much clang.
Game over! Smash the glass.
So good.
That's game over.
Oh, fantastic.
Yay!